going to sit here on my favorite spot on the floors, which I enjoy. I tend to gravitate towards. Oh no, I'm okay. I like to sit on the floors. I gravitate towards the goes, hi, what's your name? That's okay. Nobody wants to see me anyway. All right, so I'm sitting here in your very exciting living room because as somebody who loves to collect items from travels abroad, this is like a museum to me. This is fantastic. Obviously, a lot of stuff from Madagascar here.
Obviously, yes. I've been there 12 times and leading eco tours 10 of those times. And naturally, it goes hand in hand with being a photographer. You want to remember the place. So, yeah, I like to pick up lots of little cool souvenirs and stuff, little carvings. So,
yeah, there's a lot of natural history items.
Yeah, I've been to a few other cool places too in South America and Russia and New Caledonia and Australia. But Madagascar by far and away is the place I've been the most.
So you're heading back there soon, right?
Hopefully this coming winter will be the first tour in 10 years.
Wow.
And we've been kind of on a little hiatus here, just catching up on other projects and things. But yeah, they will resume again probably in November, December.
How long are those trips usually for?
I run the typical trip for about 2 to 2.5 weeks or so.
Okay.
That's about as long as most people can afford to be away from home, away from their jobs and things. The Christmas to New Year's period is popular with families. And once you get into January, it really gets good because the tourists all go home and it starts raining in Madagascar. And most people, that just terrifies them. But, of course, that's what brings the herps out.
Yeah. And as a huge fan of Madagascar animals, I couldn't help but be affected over the years by your pictures. You have seen some of the most spectacular animals out there. I mean, the rarest of the rare stuff you've come across. So it's definitely worth a trip for somebody who's into reptiles, I would think.
Absolutely. I try to take my tour members to all parts of the island to get a feel for the rainforests and the spiny dry forests and everything in between. And then I've gone off exploring a lot of places by myself because when I go, I virtually always stay another couple weeks or more. Sometimes my friends come fly in and join me there for a couple weeks or so, but I go exploring new possible venues for future tours. And but then there's the good old reliable places too that of course produce lots and lots of animals. And Madagascar is a herp-heavy country.
Now, I am a very sheltered person, so I'm not too familiar with the politics of it, but is it relatively a safe trip?
Madagascar is a very safe place. I mean, accidents can always happen, and sure, I've had tour members fall and cut themselves and all that stuff, but no, it's a very safe kind of place. When they do have little political upheavals, it's usually internal things arguing among themselves. Tourists are virtually never involved.
Good to know.
And things have been pretty stable there now for the last 7 or 8 years. Again, so yeah, it's a very safe, very sometimes a little uncomfortable. It's not really built up for tourism yet, like some places. It's not like going on an East African safari where everything's figured out.
Right.
It's more for the adventurous kind of person yet.
That's totally the trip I would love. I'd love an unstructured trip because you tend to lose a lot when you go to those, these kind of set up trips. And when you're getting out there to places, unique. Oh, what a fantastic opportunity. I couldn't think of a more amazing place in the world than Madagascar. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I try to break things up because when we're driving around, if somebody says like, oh, what's that they're selling on that little table, like some kind of strange fruit or something, and well, let's stop and see what it is.
Yeah.
And as soon as we stop the vehicle from rolling, then we start finding stuff because like, oh, is that a gecko over there in that hut? Is that a chameleon up in the tree? Do the people around here ever see boas? And I ask them, or I have it translated through our driver. And, oh, yes, the do. A do is a boa in Madagascar.
Oh, okay.
And more often than not, they say, yes, we can show you that snake. And they know right where it's living in a hole in the riverbank or something or up in the tree. And they take us. Sometimes it takes 20 or 30 minutes to go out to a hike. But they've seen it and they know it lives there, and it's usually there.
That's the best, and that's the best source. The locals can source things out.
And there have been times when they asked that, and they said, "Oh, come here, come here, come here." And there's one of something living in one of the huts, and they asked Bill and his tourists to please get it out of there because we've abandoned the hut until it can be
nice.
Nobody's been using this particular hut now for the last week or two while this Madagascar tree boa has taken up residence. And like, oh, you're not afraid of them? Please take it out of there. So then we climb up on furniture or whatever and pull it out of the roof or whatever. So this has happened a lot.
Is the general reaction that Americans are crazy wanting to come out and look for these?
Yeah. They think we're a little nuts, but they're laughing and having a good old time. And we come into a town and we ask the kids, to go catch us some grasshoppers and stuff. And to feed the chameleons, and we put the grasshoppers on our noses and see who will not blink as the chameleon pops the bug off our nose. And we do a lot of fun stuff like that. And then, of course, we tip all the local people. We never tip them for the animals themselves because we never take the animals. We make sure that they see us walk over to the edge of the forest and release the chameleon or the boa. And we want them to see that, hey, we came here just to see them and photograph them, and that's why we're tipping you. And we bring toys for the kids and things like that. So
Yeah, and they can definitely use it. I mean, a lot of these people are very
they can
poor.
use anything you bring over there. It's a very poor country, and we go to little places that I know other bird tours or whatever would never go in a million years. And we go off the beaten path a lot. And people, sometimes they're probably some of the first white tourists that some of them have ever seen.
Nice. Definitely the trip.
Bill kind of adopted a school there.
Oh, yeah.
And every time they would go back to the same school, and he would ask the tourists to bring school supplies. And so when this teacher and kids would see them coming, they were pretty excited.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm sure, yeah, they could definitely benefit from that kind
You
of...
want to pull one of the cameras for just a quick close-up? I can show you, because I have a kind of a library right here.
Absolutely.
You got to show them your carving of the boa.
The one that caught my eye up there.
Yeah, because that